Sorry about that. Some things going on. More things that I did not anticipate. So hello, I'm SolarLoon. I'm an independent game developer. I'm the creator of Master Plan. I'm the creator of Tetra 3D. Hi. So yeah, it's been a while. I think last Wednesday, something like that, was the last time I streamed. But yeah, welcome to the stream. I don't know if I'll have a lot of time to stream them today. I might have to cut it short. But yes, indeed. Welcome. So a couple things. I moved to Lua after all, because the Lua interpret Go for Lua, I believe in Go, is like 50% faster than Goja. So it's just fast. It's just a good option. Let me see if I can pull up a quick little example. I feel like I might have done this last time, but let me just double check here. Also, since last time, I also updated my CPU, so that's nice. Things should run faster. Okay, so yeah, here's Goja is 163 like microseconds, and then here's Lua, it is 52. So it's like a third of the time, roughly. Here, it's like 10 times almost faster, I guess you could say, or 10% of the time. Almost, maybe, well, not the 10%, maybe 5%, 20% rather. So it's significantly faster, which is great, right? Because going from 615 excuse me, microseconds, is it microseconds, or I think it's microseconds, micro or micro. I always get those mixed up. Nano is ns, so yeah, microseconds. Yeah, 615 microseconds to 53 microseconds is that's just a huge difference, right? And what I'm doing here is not a super complicated example. Is not super like objective either. I'm not using the testing module. I'm just basically running the same program, equivalent programs in all interpreters, and only timing the amount of time it takes to run the actual function, not to like spin up the interpreter. So like for Goja, we're creating a new virtual machine, and we're creating a function that calls out to Go and just returns a value, returns 177, which uses reflect here. Does it use reflect? No. No, it doesn't look like it uses reflect. It just uses a type switch. But basically, the program is just for over 100 times calling a function and adding two, well, initially adding 2 plus 7, and then 100 times over, like repeatedly calling the function. And then it's the same thing for Lua, where we say, okay, basically for 100 times, add the result to what was 2 plus 7. We add the go val function, which is a global function. So it's in it, which is just a number. In this case, it's 177. In this case, it's 1997. But it's the same thing. So for us to get so much better times across the board all the time, it's not even like close, dude. Like going from Goja to even Yaigi is like, sometimes Yaigi's kind of up there. Like that time, Goja was faster by a little bit. Sometimes Goja spikes really heavily. Like sometimes like that, it was up to 614 microseconds. Sometimes it's like 1.4 milliseconds. And Yaigi tends to be pretty consistent. It's pretty good, pretty solid, I think. Yeah, it tends to be pretty consistent between like 200 and 400 milliseconds, maybe, or I guess, yeah, between 200 and 500 milliseconds, or rather microseconds. But Lua is just beaten it by multiples, 3 times, 5 times, 8 times faster. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy fast. So I don't like Lua still, but I do like the speed. So what I'm doing now is I'm using hacks. what I'm doing now is I'm making the game in hacks. So I'm making hacks API, and then I'm calling out to Lua using hacks. Well, I'm compiling the hacks to Lua, and then basically importing it into my Lua interpreter and running it. It's a lot of API code, wrapping functions basically, but it's not too bad, and it's something that I didn't want to do. That I complained about on stream maybe like a few months ago, maybe 5 or 6 months ago. One of the things was basically how much like glue code I would need to write. There is a lot of glue code, but to like I don't really need to make structs because I already have the structs in existence, and I don't need to really be able to make them in Lua because I'm writing it in hex, and my structs already exist. So Lua already has something called user data that basically just holds something. So I was like, okay, well, if I have something that basically holds, you foreign types, and it just allows me to keep a reference to it, and I have functions that allow me to pass, stuff past a foreign type, or hold a foreign type in Lua and then pass it over to the host language, which in this case is Go, then I can just use that. I don't have to have like an entire type system and, like make my types integrate with Lua. I can just basically make functions that just take an argument as a, whatever argument I pass being a user data, take the value out of that, transform it back to what it's supposed to be in Go, and then just run the function, do what I needed to do. And so this works really well. It's definitely not perfect, but it does work really well, and you get of course the nice result, which is the game runs a lot faster. So like for example, we can just test this real quick. We still have the ability to do some cool stuff. Like we can, for example, clear a texture. We can fill it with another color. For example, in this case, fill it with white or fill it with red. We can draw on the texture. We have, I'm basically just like remaking all of the stuff that you used to be able to do. So it's a lot of, API creation, but the end result is this super duper lean, fast scripting layer. And if we were to, for example, say for I equals 0, or I in 0 to 1,000, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals A plus B. There we go. So from basically looping through 100,000 times, we're getting 8 milliseconds roughly, which is pretty good, I think. If we would do this in Go, let's test that out. If we go to the script. Let's do something like that. What are we looking at? It might be like optimizing it out. Let's do like this. So that we know like it is actually using it. Again, it might be optimizing this out. That's at least possible. C, okay, we'll do like that, plus C. It's that fast? That's crazy, dude. 300,000? It's that fast? That's crazy. 1 million? Man, it's blowing through this. That's crazy. 1 million. Well, so it's gonna be a lot slower. It's gonna be a lot slower than Go natively. It's like a million times slower or something. But that's okay. That's okay. It's still good enough. Yeah, so that's really good in terms of speed. For Go, I'm shocked that it's that fast. But even still, this is still good. This is still good speed to be able to do 100,000 uh calculations, basic, addition calculations. It's pretty dang good. That's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. What I can do, because I don't really like this system of like passing the node through a function. I feel like it might be better to just pass the node through an argument like this. And then when we can pass it, I believe, let me see, if we go to script, yeah, we should be able to do a, oh, yeah, no, I would like to be able to pass the node directly, but we can't do that unless we wanted to pass the user. Like ideally, I want to pass the node like this, but there's no way to do that, I think, because this won't come in as a node, it'll come in as user data. Okay. So I mean, like, if I wanted to do it like this, I would have to basically call I'd have to make another node. Yeah. So let's see if we can do that actually, because I'm kind of interested. Let's see. Actually, I guess it might already be exported now that I think about it. Let's see. So we have the player. Yeah, system node. That's in there. Okay. So yeah, so we could say global game dot script runtime exports game system node. And then maybe like rt dot state, I guess was, yeah, no, rt dot state dot get field. Let's see if that works. It's like, no, think I misspelled it. It's oh, system is not capitalized. Function. Okay, so yeah, we can do it like this. So what we'll do is we'll use this approach because this should be a little bit better, I think. We can do it like this. When we reload, because do we ever even use self? Get field self. Oh, I see. The function name on the self. I see. So the self is really the class. Maybe I can make it so that it extends node, actually. Let me think. When you do create a new one, well, you wouldn't be able to create a new one. It would have to be created. That's not impossible. Huh. I could do that. Well, let me check something real quick. Right, notice here. Okay. What I wanted to check is what if I pass an argument but I don't receive it? Okay, so then nothing happens. Okay. So then I can pass an argument and just I don't have to I can do like that and then no. Args, right? Yeah. Call by param. Push arg. Whoops. Okay. Oh yeah, let me get some music going before I forget. All these memes. Let's see. We'll go with this one. Let's see. So I'm passing a true argument. So why does it not show up here? Does it have to be Boolean specifically? No. Dude, so much. Hold on. I gotta close some of the stuff. We don't have to actually say anything. Node is bool. In ret. I'm gonna assume in ret is probably like the number of return values. Protect. Yeah, protect is whether it panics or not. Limp args. Turns. Scroll through. Huh. Do I even use args? I do not. Now it's true. That's weird. Hold on. New Jink says, hey, how's it? Hello. Raiding with the party of 13. Yo, what up? Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. I'm in the middle of like programming using hacks. Programming using hacks and like transpiling it to Lua for a Golang game engine. It's wild, it's crazy. But anyway, yeah, thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Hello. Afraid you close OBS too quickly. Completely understandable. Yeah, thanks. I've never been raided before or raided anyone, so I don't know how this works or like what it means apart from just like there's people here, there's additional people here. So yeah, hi. A mid-think, a mid-thought. But this isn't really what, well, this isn't the only thing I'm working on. I have to work on a master plan as well, which is a project planning software. But right now I'm trying to figure out, why does this not work? Oh, is it? Maybe it's not a bool. Maybe it's a, oh, it's probably a Lua like table or something, huh? I don't know. Maybe any? I feel like maybe it's a, because I'm passing. Like it's, the arcs can be anything. So I feel like the arcs here should be anything, right? Or is it like that? Args like that? Your project looks neat. What kind of game is it? It is a overhead 2D like adventure game, but it also has like speed run platforming from a first person viewpoint. It's a kind of a weird combination. Let me see if I have the like the most recent version that's not janky. I guess I can use this one. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. All right, hold on. I gotta make some changes. Gotta update an old build. Let's see. Just gonna open it first. Okay. Right, okay. So yeah, so this is the game. Like normally this is the game. You play this little dude who's like locked out of his house, and so he's walking around a city at like 1 a.m. to try to like find his keys. So I haven't done something with, I made some changes here that mess things up, but up here there's supposed to be cars moving around. And yeah, you can see the changes I made are hitting this dude a little heavy. So I'm working on it. But basically, you walk around, you talk to people. So, you know, like I can talk to this guy. He's like, oh, I'm so glad that the convenience store is open. I was craving nachos. Now that I bought any, I'm broke. But the smell, the scent. And it's like, yeah, he's weird. But yeah, you're walking around and, you know, looking at stuff. Oh no, it crashed. Hold up. Let me see if I can go to that scene manually. Probably not. What's the issue here? Let's see. $119. Okay. That should do it. I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. So basic, bro, that is this scene or whatever. Anyway, so you're in, you know, you walk, did you see that guy? Yo, there he goes. he's zooming, man. He's zooming. Okay, so anyway, you can go into the convenience store. This is like this weird like PlayStation 1 like vague world map zone. So it's just kind of like a weird game where you're going to different places. And you can go and talk to people. Yeah, it's broken. But you can go and talk to people. But then when you go into the trash bins, it just becomes an entirely different game. So when you go into these trash bins, it becomes this like, it's not really grid based, but it's a first person like platforming and like a running game. And you can see these glitches here at the bottom left. I need to fix that. This 3D render is something I made. So it's not using, you know, traditional 3D APIs like Vulkan or OpenGL or DirectX. It's my own thing. It uses Ambient to like draw triangles, but in terms of like rendering a 3D scene, all of the vertices are transformed on the CPU by me. Like not by me like right now, like I'm like, but like like the program does it, of course. I wrote it. So basically this is kind of like this interesting like schmovement game where you have limited like schmovement game mode where you have limited air and you can run, you have to like run to like, you know, do stuff before your air runs out. When you're in the light areas, your air comes back at the bottom. And so you're looking around to basically kind of like explore and open switches and stuff, while also like being mindful of your air. And while yeah, it's kind of a software render. It basically is a software render, but it still is using your GPU to draw triangles and for shaders for depth testing. So it's not a purely software render, because I'm not doing the triangle drawing on the CPU, and it still uses shaders, but it is almost a purely software renderer. And so you have, like you saw, 2D animation is fine. It works perfectly fine. And you also have 3D animation. So like, the character's arms are moving. It's you can do bone-based armature, animation. And this is all done this is all done using Golang, basically, with JavaScript as a scripting layer. I made a add-on for Blender that basically makes it easy to get stuff off of Blender into the game, which you can see here. So it's, nothing really out of the ordinary in terms of Blender. Everything is the same as normal, but there are basically a few extra like panels and things for interacting with Tetra 3D, which is the renderer. So you can do things like copy a node's path, or change its bounds type, or add a game property to the object of a variety of different types. You can change some material settings like backface culling, or how depth renders, or how lighting happens, or whether stateless or fogless. And the depth, like you can add, what's the word? Oh wait. Oh, it's here. This is what should be here. You can add fog. You can do all that kind of stuff. How long I've been working on it? I've been working on Tetra 3D for a few years, but I've been working on this game, like really working on it, not too long. A lot of the time, I've been working on it for maybe like 10 months, but maybe 7 of those months or 8 of those months were like really spent on investigating a lot of different modding solutions. And so I've tried like so many modding solutions. I've tried XDism, I've tried Goja, I've tried Tingo, I've tried Wasm, I've tried like WebAssembly. I've tried a lot of different modding solutions because I wanted to make this game moddable. That was like the main thing when I started it. Well, as you can see, it's a small adventure game. The whole point is that it's supposed to be just a pretty basic game, but it's moddable, so you can really easily make changes and stuff. And so you can see, for example, here, if I go to here, this is the player's code. It's just a text file. It's a JavaScript file. So you can edit this to do things like change animations or change movements or whatever. Yeah, it's not super complicated. What was the motivations behind the unique rendering approach? I made this in Abbytingen because I like Abbytingen. I heavily recommend Abbytingen if you like making games, or if you would like to make a game and you're using Go. I would recommend Go heavily. Go is a great language. It's very simple. Yeah, thumbs up. I recommend Go. I think it's great. Yeah, so I mean, like I heavily recommend Go, and so Abbytingen is a 2D framework. It's made for 2D games, and I was like, well, it would be cool if I could do 3D games, or not even 3D games, but just 3D assets in Abbytingen. I was thinking when I first started, like it would be cool if I could do, for example, like a spinning top, or like like when you're like in an Ace Attorney game, where it's like it's a 2D game, but then when you go to investigate a piece of evidence, it might render in 3D. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could get it to be somewhere around there. That was back in like 2021, 2020. And you can see actually, you can see the question that I first asked on Abbytingen's GitHub in the discussion section, where I'm like, is there any way to do 3D back in 2021? I'm like, it's a 2D, well-known 2D game dev solution. I figured it'd be interesting to ask about how one could do true 3D. I'm fine with rudimentary 3D. on the level of like a 3D object in a primarily 2D game or a simple 3D world, like something from a PlayStation 1 game. So I never really thought it would get to this point, but it's gotten to this point where it's like, it's peak. It's actually rather dope. And so in this game, you also, I missed the sidestep. In this game, you also have the ability to sidestep and the ability to drift. So you have like some movement ability. So like it's a little Sonic. It's a little boost era Sonic. It's a little dope. I like it. I'm a fan of Sonic Sonic like modern Sonic games. I think that they're fun, and I think this has the same kind of vibe. And with the air gauge, it really makes you like, keep up your momentum, not necessarily in terms of, rolling down hills like in the original Sonics, but in terms of like trying to not hit walls, because that completely kills your speed. So there is something fun to be said about like getting really solid with your sidesteps and your. It's very clicky. It's very clicky. I missed the drift. So I mean, it's fun. I like this. So this is a fun, weirdly fun like mode. I really dig it. It scratches all the itches. Low poly, chunky pixels, retro. Thank you. Yeah. And so you can actually see this isn't fully PS1 like, because there's no affine texture mapping. The textures are rendering more or less correct. But the vertices are not. So it kind of has its own kind of vibe. I want to have affine texture mapping like the PlayStation 1. It already works. It's just I turned it off because there's not enough polygons here to make it like bearable. It looks pretty bad if it's off. Let's turn it off. It's a little hard to look at. Yeah, I need to up the triangle count, or implement some sort of like dynamic subdividing system. That's how I think a lot of PS1 games did it, and without that, it stretches so hard, dude. It's I'm down with the vibe, but not in first person at this perspective. It's just too much. So while I'm working on it, I turned off the perspective. I made the texture mapping perspective just so I could actually play the game. But yeah, it looks pretty good, feels pretty good. I missed. Whew. Yeah. So, but you can actually see there's still some like rendering artifacts from like you can see the ground cutting through here, very PlayStation 1 like, which is fine, I think. Yeah, not perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's fine. Yeah, so I'm happy with this. So this is what I've been working on for the past few months, roughly a year, making a lot of progress with modding. Going to post it to Steam. Yeah, well, the game is going to be on Steam. I'm going to put it on Steam, but the mods I'm going to host off of Steam, ideally, so that people can mod. You don't have to like buy the game on Steam. Like you can buy it on itch, for example, and still have access to all the mods. You could play it on Android and still have access to all the mods, ideally, because it does run on Android. So that's cool. Yeah, so this is what I've been working on. So I'm really happy with it. It is very clicky. It's very fun. It feels good. But I basically went back to scratch because I'm like, well, I want this to be faster. I don't want to have well, previously, before I upgraded my CPU, this was like 1.5 milliseconds, 1.2, something like that. And my CPU was a little old, but it still wasn't like that old. So now I'm like, well, I want it to be faster, and so I think going with Lua as a scripting layer and compiling to Lua using hacks would give me kind of the best of both worlds, where I have something that is faster than Goja, than the Java script interpreter, while also being dynamic, and also being give me a nice type safe language where I have the ability to have like, you know, type safety where I can, you know, presume I can have some level of compilation where it's like, okay, this is going to fail before I even run the game, where I can kind of tell that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's been a lot of translating of API calls over the past couple days for a variety of things, but I'm making my way through the API and it's going pretty well. Node, library, model, mesh, vertex selection, materials, textures, vectors, matrices, colors. So yeah, it's going well. So once this is all basically up to about the point where it was with this, then I am gonna go ahead and just, you know, make this here, and hopefully it'll be performant. Baseline execution is low. We'll see if it goes up over time, but hopefully it'll be, you know, half the time of the other thing. Our egg says most of us from Nudank stream are Godot devs. Godot. Do you have any experience with Godot? Yeah, I actually worked with Godot a lot back in like before 4.0, before 3.0, I think. Oh, I wouldn't say a lot, but I worked with Godot a pretty good amount, you know. Great engine. Heavily recommend it. It's a great tool, great solution for game development. There's some things that I love about it, like the animation support, animation player, where it's like you can animate things right there in Godot is so cool. To be able to just like, oh, I want to like move this guy over here, and I can just make that an animation right there in the engine. That's cool. Yeah, so I mean, like it's a great engine, but something about doing everything myself, man, I don't know. it's addictive, brother. It's addictive to just like bang out technologies and math and all that stuff and be like, how does this work? How should this work? How can I make this do what I want? You know, I don't like this. Maybe I can make it. Maybe I can choose this other technology or this other tool. And I think that's something I didn't like about Godot. And it's no shade to Godot. I think it's again a great tool. But there's a lot of stuff in Godot, like for example, the coding, the entire coding system. The language is another layer, but I was talking about mainly the code editor. Like there's an entire code editor in Godot, and it's like that's an entire thing they have to maintain, is this entire code editor where, you know, most people are probably, you know, coming from, if you're, I wouldn't say serious about programming, but if you've done programming before, naturally you're going to come from another IDE or another text editor like VS Code, like Sublime, like, you know, whatever. And so it's kind of weird it feels like it's a lot of extra baggage to have a code editor, you know, built into Godot, where it's like, they're just text files. You can just, you know, make a language server and just allow people to use whatever editor they want. And then you don't have to maintain an entire code editor. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's not a horrible thing, but it just felt like, that's kind of a lot to like be maintaining the tile editor. And so you have this kind of awkward middle ground. It's probably not like this, you know, anymore. But when I was using it, this was maybe a couple years ago. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I would run into little bugs where it's like, okay, the tile editor doesn't work quite right, or there's no way to rotate a tile, or there's no way to flip a tile. And so you make an issue for it on GitHub, or you look at an issue and it's like, oh, it's, you know, 9 months old. And it's like, okay, well, when are they going to fix this? Who knows? And so it's like, well, you know, now I'm using an external editor, like I'm using Tiled, or I'm using, you know, maybe, I can't think of the other one from Deep Night, the other level editor, but it's like you end up using other tools for things that Godot has, and so it's like, well, why am I even using Godot if I'm using so many other things? Like, what, you know, like if I'm gonna use Godot, but I want to do everything in Blender and VS Code and Tiled, or I cannot think of the. What is it? LDTK. Like if I'm using all these other tools, then it's like, well, why am I using Godot? if I'm not really taking advantage of it. So I don't know. I think it's a great engine, heavily recommended, of course. But yeah, just at the time I was running into different bugs and things that were just kind of irritating. But that was years ago. I'm sure Godot by now is, drastically improved. So this is, oh yeah. Godot has a LSP now. Decent support for external editors. Okay, yeah, excellent. So like, this is what what I've been working on. This is just gonna be, it's gonna take some time to just like work my way through the API, adding these functions and stuff. But in the meantime, I can be working on, let me see. Where is master plan? So master plan is a 2D project planning software. I've been working on this for years as well. But basically it's something to help people make games. That's the idea. So, when I started working on this, there was like nothing that really existed in the same space as this. And I think that's still the case. I don't think there's anything that really like matches, is like this. That's kind of like a project planning software really tuned toward individual users, toward indie developers. Most tools are made for teams. So you have things like Hack and Plan, you have things like Monday, you have things like Trello, and it's like those are nice, but they're kind of like restrictive in terms of like what they do, and they are very boxed in terms of their physical space, and they're made for teams. So you have things like assigning tasks to users, where it's like, oh, this goes to that person, that it's approved by this person, this person reviews, you can review tasks or make comments, and it's like those are cool features if you're working with a team, but if you're by yourself, they just kind of get in the way. And on top of all that stuff is in the cloud. All that stuff is in the web, is in the internet, which kind of doesn't make sense, or didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, well, if I'm making a game, I want my project plan to sync up with my game. I want to commit my plan to, through Git along with my source code, so I can be like, okay, when I, if I roll back my code, I can see like what was the state of the project at the time, what was I planning, what was I working on, whatever. So that's why I made this tool. So basically, it is a like to-do list. It is a system to like embed images and stuff like that. You can embed a website, an internet browser, so you can look up stuff like, I don't know, medieval armor. Make it bigger. Yeah, so it's a cool feature set. So it's kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. What's it called? Master plan? Yeah, master plan. Is it open source? Nah, it's the source is available on GitHub, but it's not open source. It's still my project. It's still my application. But if you want to build it, you can do so from github.com/solarloon/masterplan. And if you want to buy it, you can also buy it on Steam or itch.io. So it's a cool tool. What I wanted to do is work on it to basically implement, well, I've been working on implementing sticky icons, sticky images, and well, not just images, sticky cards. So any of these things you create are called cards, and you can drag them around and zoom in, zoom out, all that stuff. So it's a very open kind of planning tool, but something that I think someone's asked before, and I feel like I wanted to do at some point, even before they asked, but definitely since they've asked, is basically make it so that when you drag a map, for example, all the other things drag along with it. So normally it doesn't. And so I've done work to basically make it so that if you drag, for example, these little icons, if I drag them onto a map, like that, and I moved all of these. I dragged all of these. Then when I move the map, they come along with, which is cool. That's what we want. Yeah. Yeah. So that's perfect. That's, yeah, well, not, it may not be a perfect implementation, but that works well. But what I need to do is save this. I need to save basically like that the icons, that the items are stuck, are what not, well, yeah, that they're stuck to or parented to the under objects, that when you load the project, you can drag and move them around and everything sticks like it should. So that's what I need to do next. And let me also go look at my to-do list, because there was something about, okay, I didn't add that. So cool. Right, so the easiest way to do this is to save the state of the card. Let's see. Let me think. Let me also change the music real quick. That's good. All right, so let me think. Pinned. So yeah, I need a way to save these. I guess I only need to save them. Well, no, I probably want to save them whenever you move the card or anything like that. Because if you move a card onto another card, it gets pinned. Then you move a card off the card, it gets unpinned. When you undo, it should go back to being pinned. Yeah. So this needs to be saved in some way. So when we serialize, let's see. Okay, so we can save the, what if the card is pinned like this. Okay. Let me close this. Pin 2. I think I would like to, oh, well. Okay, wait. My brain is coagulating on an idea. That's like the worst way to say that, but I think a concept is coming to me. I think I think I can, what I can do, okay. I guess there's a couple ways to do this. One is whenever we go to move, thoughts are congealing, exactly. One idea is that whenever we go to move a card that is basically a base card, which in this case are just maps, let's say. So when we go to move a map, it loops through every card to see basically if that card is pinned to the map. The reason why I like that idea is that it keeps the code that determines whether a card is pinned to another essentially all on the map. So the map determines what is pinned to me, because it needs to know, like, you know, which cards to move along with it. Currently, when you pin a card, it reaches into the card that it is pinned to and says, hey, I'm pinned to you, which is not good in my opinion, because like that shouldn't be the role of the card, the pinned card. That shouldn't be the role of the pinner. That should be the role of the pinned. But maybe that's just kind of like, those are kind of the same thing. Let me see. Unpin, pin to. This happens here when you drop a card, and it also happens here when you make a new card. Okay, that makes sense. Well, let's do this as naively as possible first, and then we'll see how that ends up. So what this would look like if done naively, we serialize which cards we're pinned to. We do not serialize a card if we are not pinned to anything. When we deserialize a card, let's see, which we can do. Here. So those rooms in the master plan are just images. Could you drag and drop in a level data file and have it rendered as it would appear in the engine? That's an interesting idea. So the rooms here are what's called maps. So they're editable. I can like change them to like draw a map outline, like a layout, like that. Or like I can use different colors or use different patterns. Yeah, little things like that. So it's basically like a planning tool. Could you drag and drop in a level data file and have it rendered as it would appear in the engine? I mean, like, in order for that to, well, the answer to that is no. You can't currently, well, you wouldn't be able to do that. You can't do that, no. I feel like that's just a little too much, because in order for that to happen, I would have to both read the level data file in a way that makes sense, which of course, you know, LDTK or tiled, they have different formats. But then on top of that, I would also have to like take in tile sets to be able to render the tiles correctly. Which, like that, I could do that, but the flip side of it is the whole point of this is to not be a replacement for other tools. It's not meant to replace, you know, your level editor. It's just meant to help you like bang out an idea of what the level should look like or the flow of the level, and then you're making the level in LDTK or tiled. Because if this is supposed to be like, if this could take an LDTK format and take a tile set to render it, then you would basically be able to edit a level, a tiled or LDTK level in this At which point it's like, well, how do I get it out of here? And it's like, well, it was never supposed to be in here. For keeping the images up to date. I think I see. Oh yeah, well yeah, I see. I think I see what you mean. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the images you can just edit them. You can just, yeah, plan out what this is supposed to do and how this is supposed to look. Yeah. I asked before. Yeah, it was editable. Oh yeah, but you're not the first person to ask about, like, showing LDTK or tiled maps in here, and it's like, unfortunately, that just is, I think, a little too much. It's definitely doable. It's just, it's a lot of work for being a worse LDTK or tiled. Okay, so back to the issue at hand. The issue at hand is that we're trying to, let's see. Okay. So this is which one we're pinned to. So what we want to do, we have the ID. We want to get the ID. This might work. Let's see. Oh, this is already an N64. Okay. Unpin, handle pinning. Card pin to other. Okay. I guess that's it. So we just have to say card. Excuse me. All right, so if this works, we should be able to do something like yeah, 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 yeah. Undo, 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 undo. Yeah, let's go. And if that works, then we should be able to go over here. And also, this audio is getting on my nerves. I want to have this. Let me save this real quick. So none of them are pinned. Can I reload without issues? Yes. Okay. Also, did I see? Okay. So now if I click and drag, they're all pinned. All right, save. Let me just quit entirely. Yo, okay. That works surprisingly well. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Okay. That that's what I wanted to have happen. Actually, that's it. That's why I was kind of worried about that a little bit. But I mean, it seems like it works pretty well. Oh, why is it still pinned? Hmm. Let me see. Serialize. If pin 2 is not equal to nil, oh, that's probably why. No, data is being remade all the time. So pin 2 is not equal to nil. So why is it? Now it's working correctly. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Hey, dude, agent mode closed, brother. So let me think. So pinning works, serializing works, deserializing works. But if we is it when we undo it, it's stuck? Specifically? No. Okay, let me see something because I want to see why this is happening exactly. Close this. Let's go to unpin. No. Oh, yeah, we have to do this. This should be unpin. There we go. Okay, let's give this a shot. Let's see. Whoops. Pin 2 is not gonna know. What do we call this? We call this when... Oh, I see. When moving them like that. Okay, well then this is not part of the solution. Handle pinning. Card.unpin. Type other break. Card.unpin. the issue might be, let me take a look at something. It might be that when I deserialize, like I'm deserializing more often than I think I am. I feel like I should be deserializing just... Yeah, okay. Map. Okay, so I'm not deserializing more often than I think I am. But why is it stuck? Okay. I mean, I already know that this is the case, but I still want to see... Let's see, is this being updated correctly? Come on, man. Okay, so one is pinned. One is not pinned. Undo, undo. Move. Okay. Okay, so one is not pinned, but... Oh, I have to update the... Oh, yeah, that makes sense. When I deserialize... If I'm not pinned... Well, I guess I could just say card.unpin whenever you deserialize, so you always go back to being unpinned. By default. That's better. Cool. There we go. That's more so what I was looking for. Okay. Whoa, 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 wait. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Right. Okay, that actually kind of makes sense because these are not pinned. The other cards. Okay. No, those are pinned. Yeah, that's better. That is better. Okay, that's better. Okay, I think this is... I hope this is solid. Whoops. I hope this is solid because I'm like, buddy, it's kind of like it's up to like I'm just hoping it's solid. I hope it you know, looks okay. Works well. Transparent background. Grid still shows up unless you uncheck that. But yeah, transparent background is very useful. If you're doing like reference work, could be useful to be able to look through master plan, see behind it. This is kind of what I was thinking of. Yeah, this kind of is like, it brings to mind the concept of openness, right? To be able to have the transparent background and to be like, okay, you know, your plan doesn't have to make you feel constrained. You say, I'm jealous of this editor. Yo, thank you. It's still not perfect, man. There's still a long way to go, but like, I think it's pretty good. I'm happy with it. I think that it's the ideal is that it should be fun. to plan, because the more fun and the easier it is to plan things out, the more likely you are to stick to your plan. And I'm someone who critically does not finish their projects. I struggle. I suck at finishing projects. I can start stuff. Starting stuff is fun. It's easy to start stuff. It's simple, man. But like finishing things is my kryptonite. That is horrible for me. So I made this, serial prototyper, exactly. And so I made this tool because I was like working on a project that I didn't end up finishing. And I was like, I need a tool to help me plan stuff out. And so I looked at different options, and I was like, none of these really feel right. And so I started working on master plan. And so now it is like 4 years later, and it's still in early access. I'm sorry, I'm working on it, as you can see, but it's getting better. Looks good, feels good. It's not perfect, but it's definitely getting up there. Definitely getting smoother and simpler and chiller and vibier. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I can stop it here. I've just been streaming for about an hour and a half. Definitely do appreciate the raid. Thank you very much for watching. It's been dope. It's been real. I stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday usually. But I have some other things I need to do today, so I'm gonna, I guess, stop here, and we'll pick it up Wednesday, hopefully. I stream at around 5 p.m. usually through the week. I'm trying to be more consistent. So if you want to watch development on this and the other game that I've been working on, please subscribe or follow me. On Twitch. Check out my YouTube channel. I upload VODs there. YouTube.com/SolarLoon. And if you want to check out Masterplan, please do feel free. It's on Steam. It's on itch. It's on GitHub, github.com/SolarLoon/Masterplan. Tetra3D is also on GitHub, Tetra3D, github.com/SolarLoon/Tetra3D. If you want to check out a interesting and weird 3D renderer written by hand, largely / with assistance from Stack Overflow and other learning resources on the internet. But yeah, thanks for watching. It's been real. I've been SolarLoon. I'll catch you guys on the flip side next time. Peace. See ya.